Okay, this is a small update to the bike generator. What I did was I put a solar charger controller on. I do have it hooked up to a battery. Now I'm not going to hook up the load because I have an inverter here that's going from a cigarette lighter hooked to the battery right up to the inverter. Now this is an 1100 watt inverter. Of course it is going to take massive amounts of power. The one thing you want to watch is this gear right here. Alright, if that gear starts to work loose, my advice is to find a washer, a small thin washer that'll fit there, and take that plastic piece off if it starts to work loose. Apologize for the lousy quality here. And then tighten that nut back down. Hold your gear with a pair of pliers or vice grips. Get a good crank on it, and that should work better, a whole lot better if it works loose. Now the solar charger controller, I have red wire hooked to positive, black to negative. I have some wires hooked up here to some alligator clips, and I have this hooked up to the fan. So of course if I turn it on, the battery is going to kick on. I have the fan on. Now it's 11.62, and you can tell this is a whole lot quieter. If it's too noisy, then you can always adjust it, make the chain a little bit looser. And it is charging. Now you can tell that battery is bad. I am doing this with my hands, well, one hand, so it's not like I'm getting a really good speed on this. When I first started this, I did crank a few times to get 11.62. It actually started at 11.51. It's back down 11.54. But it doesn't seem to be dropping one bit. Even off that little bitty, well, it's a scooter battery. I mean, it is tiny. I mean, you can see the alligator clips there are just massive. And it is not dropping whatsoever. Like I said, I'm just doing this with one hand. I have a 15 amp fuse, inline fuse, going to my power inverter. Okay, enough of that. Like I say, if you're not getting any power through your charger controller, I do have a charger controller. This is a solar charger controller. It is just a cheap, eco-worthy 12 volt, 15 amp. So it's not going to kick out more than 15 amps. The battery is an EverStart Power Sport battery. It says Premium AGM. It actually came off of a scooter that our old neighbor had before they moved. The battery would not start their scooter, so I decided, you know what, I'll keep it and see what I can do with it. It's a good thing I kept it. I mean, it's a good little battery for checking stuff. So as you can tell, the gear isn't working loose. If it, like I say, if it starts to work loose, remember, this is geared, the threaded backwards. The threads are backwards on this. So to tighten it, you have to go that way. Right? Normally to tighten a bolt, you would tighten it that way. This is a reverse thread. So if that starts working loose, what I would do is I would find a flat washer that will fit over here and keep it from going all the way back. or put something on there to hold it in place so it doesn't slide towards the motor, and just tighten the holy heck out of it. As you can see, this is actually dropping pretty quick. It's now 11.46, just running this fan. And I apologize if there's any clicking. My batteries are almost dead in this. They keep jumping up and down between 2 and 1. But as you can tell, it does produce power. And I do have it hooked up to a solar charger controller. Eventually I will get a wind charger controller. It would work much better for variable speeds. And if you don't have any type of solar charger controller or anything like that, make sure you get a blocking diode for between your motor and your battery if you hook it up straight. You have to have something there to keep that juice from flowing backwards. Okay? And like I said, red is positive, black is negative. I did cut some wires down just to fit in there, you know, to see what it would do. As you can tell, it is producing power. The fan's still running off the battery. Make sure you hook this, and of course the alligator clips I have are massive compared, you know, for this little bitty battery. They're barely connecting. But make sure you have something between your motor and your battery. Like I said, I have an extra solar charger controller. Unfortunately, it is a small 12 volt 15 amp MTTP controller. It's just a cheap Chinese controller. I didn't exactly get my wires in there very well, but you can tell it's actually producing the power. It's going to the battery. So this will give you some battery power. It does take quite a while. I mean, my arm is really tired because I was just using the one arm turning the pedals. Anyway, this is an update. You see it now, it's dropping down to 11.38 because I stopped spinning. While I was turning, this battery was actually not dropping at all, just running this fan. Now I stopped turning, it's actually dropping. So that's 11.38. Let's go on to watts. 1536 watts. Okay, that's enough. It's not dropping at all while I'm turning that. Let's go back there. 11.38, so it was not dropping while I was spinning it. Anyway, this is an easy way to hook up a permanent magnet motor generator to a bike. As you can tell, I am testing this for you, and it is actually dropping off this fan when I'm not turning. Like I said, the battery was at like 40%, so it definitely needed to be charged. And with me having my 1100 watt inverter on here, while I was turning, the power was not dropping at all. You can see the light come on the solar charger controller, showing it was putting in voltage. I apologize if the audio is going up and down. This camcorder stinks. I shouldn't have bought this. I should have bought a different one, but I found this brand new on eBay for $7, so I'm not going to knock it. I just wanted to show you. It's at 11.3 right now, and once again, this is not for high-end appliances. Something like a fan is fine. Something just to keep your battery charged up while you're using it. This would probably put out enough power to charge my laptop while I was using it. I'm not sure. This says it's rated for 350 watts, 12 volt, 24 volt. I kind of doubt that. My girlfriend's computer, I'm not dumb enough to hook it up. You know, unless I get a blocking diode and a much better battery, and then I could probably try it. But I do not have the tester. I had one of those cheap VOMs multimeters from Harbor Freight, and the thing like fried the second time I used it. So I do not have another one for me to go through all this. I just wanted you to see it working. And see, it is hooked up to the battery. It was charging the battery, sending power to current to the battery through my inverter. And while I was turning that, it was not dropping at all. So this is an update. I just wanted you to see everything. Once again, if you're going to do something like this, have a blocking diode, have a charger controller, have a good battery. I mean, do not use a car battery, a scooter battery. That's exactly what that is. It's an old scooter battery, gas scooter, 50cc, actually 49.9cc gas scooter. That's the battery, and that battery wouldn't even start the scooter, so you know it's shot. And you can see the fan still going. And now it's 11:22. Now, as long as I turn the bike, turn the generator, it's feeding power into the battery, this does not drop. So if all possible, have you a good, solid, at least a dual cycle marine battery. Not an automotive battery, and you should be okay. I'd actually have a smaller inverter, no larger than a 750 watt. This is the smallest one I have, 1100 watt. So I wanted you to see it actually does work. If you're having a problem, if you have a solar charger controller and it will not light your light up there, one of two things has to happen. One, you have to make sure your red is positive, black is negative coming from your motor. Two, you have to make sure it's hooked up to a battery. These solar charger controllers do not work unless they're hooked up to a battery. So make sure you're hooked up to a battery. I'm not even hooking up the load because I would actually have to cut a wire, and honestly I'm running out of little ends to put on my wires. So I just wanted you to see. Now it's 11:14. I mean, it is dropping fast off this little battery. Like I said, the battery's shot. While I was pedaling, it did not drop at all. So I expect this to go off shortly. In fact, I'm going to turn this off right now. This is an update to show you how I have this rigged. Once again, if you do this, get a blocking diode, get a solar charger controller, one that will make sure it doesn't backfeed from your battery. Do not have a load hooked up to your solar charger controller because that will pull power from your battery. Just have it straight from the generator into the battery, and that's it. And then from your battery, you can have it out to your inverter. Alright, I'm fixing to go. My batteries are fixing to die, and I hope this helps somebody out that's actually wanting to get into something like this. And once again, it's really not hard to hook up. And if you really want more power, you have to leave your wheel on and use a belt system. Like I said, we just don't have room for that. That's why I did it this way. And if you're really hard up for power in an emergency, if you do something like this, you may be able to hook up an alternator this way and get some power, at least enough to run things like a fan, your laptop, maybe a stereo, some lights maybe. And I wouldn't push it too much, but this is an easy way to hook it up. Alright, this is the update. Everyone have a good day. Bye.